Welcome back to yet another episode of the Between the Ashes podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. As always, joined by Braden, Brock Bierman, and myself, Dawson Livingston, here to talk about the AFC West as we get into the 2026 NFL season. As we're recording, first preseason game is tomorrow night against the Frisky Panthers and Brock's Arizona Cardinals. So I'm sure you guys are pretty pumped for that as football is right around the corner. But as always, we start off every episode by asking the fellas how they're doing. Guys, how are we doing on this great Wednesday evening as we're recording?
I'm pumped, man. We've been waiting for the NFL season for too long, as always. So even if it is, we have to watch Carson Beck versus Kenny Two Gloves.
Whoa,
Any
whoa, whoa,
NFL
whoa,
football
whoa!
we will
What's
take
wrong
right
with
now.
that?
There are many things wrong with that, and you know this.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at least it's football, I guess. I don't know, but I'm also someone that watches the UFL, so for me, football is football. I'll watch it
Yeah.
whenever I can get it.
How many likes does this episode / clip out need for you guys to get me a Kenny Pickett Panthers jersey? How many likes?
Well,
I needed to go with my Kenny Pickett.
I feel
Steelers
like
jersey.
if we wait until this time next year, Fanatics is just going to have a discount where we can get
True.
it for like $8.
yeah,
True.
give me about 6 months. I bet you I can get you something from DHgate.
All right, there we go.
You
By
going
the
to
end
order
of-
it tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yep.
be here by week 16. So,
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, another great Wednesday evening. I think we're like 30 something days away from the official season being
Something
kicked
like
off.
that.
As of this recording, our first episode of the AFC North preview is live, so be sure to go check out that. And if you want the full episode, it's already out. If you want the shorter form, it's going to be posted as the next few days go on. So yeah, we're
By
getting
the
all
way,
this.
shout out Dawson for putting all of that work in on clipping those
There we
things out, graphics wise, everything. The graphics look amazing on the thumbnails this year.
Big step up from last year when I was working with. So, oh yeah,
Got some good stuff.
we do. We got some good stuff in the works. This is the last AFC division that we are previewing, and then we'll be straight into the NFC for the next few episodes. But we're going to start with the team that finished last in the AFC West, and that was none other than the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders made some huge splashes this offseason, signing offensive guard or center Tyler Linderbaum, 3 years, $81 million. Quay Walker from the Green Bay Packers, 3 years, $40 million. Kirk Cousins, on the graphic it says 5 years, $172 million. A lot of that is void years, but he is probably going to be their quarterback at least for a few games this year. And then in the draft, they drafted Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick. And with their second round selection, they took Traden Stukes, the safety out of Arizona. Guys, the Raiders were 3-14, pretty clearly the worst team in the NFL last year. And the question I have for you guys as we get into talking about what their season could potentially look like is who will start more games at quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders this year?
Man, I mean, I feel like there's two different answers to this, like, obviously, but, like, it's either A, they don't want to just ruin any sort of confidence Mendoza has by trotting him out with whatever this is of an offense. Like, Genty, I mean, was good in college, hasn't exactly shown much of the NFL level. Their wide receiver room right now is, Trey Tucker, Jalen Nailor, Jack Besh. Dante Thornton Jr. might end up mixing in there a little bit. Obviously, you have Brock Bowers, and the offensive line is, I guess, improved. Not that that's saying much, but, I mean, I don't know. The era of, like, trying to just sit and develop a quarterback feels like it's dead. So, if they want to try to develop Mendoza, I could see them just saying, you know what, we paid Kirk Cousins a lot of money to play quarterback this year. Might as well trot him out there. But also, getting your first overall pick NFL experience is not a bad idea anyways. And if he sucks, hey, we weren't winning games anyways.
You guys don't think Aiden O'Connell will get a chance to play QB
No.
for the Raiders? I'm sorry. Uh, yeah,
Seen
I
crazier
mean,
things.
this is an interesting thing, interesting situation because it's like I asked actually my roommate this question before we started recording here. Can you think of the last time the number one overall pick isn't a sure thing as QB1 or whatever position, starting position, week one of their rookie year?
I think the stat I
Like,
saw was since 2019, every quarterback select number one has started week one. But that's not to
that's
say
crazy.
that Mendoza couldn't start week one, struggle a little bit, and then the Raiders pull him. I doubt that that would happen because that would show you have little to no faith in Mendoza and you just spent the first pick on him. But no, it
Mhm.
seems like most of these guys end up starting the majority of their year one career. The only reason I ask this though is because they did give Kirk Cousins like real money to play quarterback. Whether or not like he'll actually play quarterback for them is a different story. But I think
I
most
mean,
number one picks usually end up playing a good chunk of the rookie year.
you were hinting at the preseason game that's happening tomorrow with the Panthers and the Cardinals right around the time that we're recording this. This episode will be out after that.
Mm.
But if there's anyone that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, it is Kirk Cousins' agent. Like the fact that he keeps getting these types of opportunities and contracts that put him in a situation not only to get paid, because some agents are really good at getting their players paid no matter what. This agent keeps finding a way to get Kurt an opportunity to play football because I wouldn't have guessed that Cousins would be anywhere near a situation of being quarterback one entering week one of an NFL season this year. And here we are talking about whether or not it's going to be him or the number one overall pick. That's another thing. He there's a debate between whether he's going to start or the number one overall pick who just won the national championship. That's crazy.
Braden, you have anything else to add on Raiders potential quarterback one going into 2026?
Not really. I mean, yeah, I think Brock said it best. Shout out Kirk Cousins bagman because
Yeah.
that is Kirk Cousins is a top one bag getter of all time. He's made what close to $500 million probably over the course of his career by playing middle of the pack to sub average football. Insane.
When he's on, he's really fun to watch, honestly. But like again, it there are more weeks where he's either below average than he is above average of what you would probably want from a quarterback. I am curious from your guys' perspective. Where are your guys' expectations for Mendoza? Not necessarily just this year, but like as a career, with whether it's the Raiders or wherever his career takes him. Like, do you think he could be a franchise player? Do you think he is in a situation where he could be one of the guys that we talk about 15, 20 years from now? Or
I think so. I mean, he's one of these guys, like, maybe not necessarily prototype quarterback as far as like the modern day goes, not really super fast, not like the craziest arm. He's just got now. I know this is a bit of a cliche, but one of these like crazy IQ guys, like came from
yep,
Cal Berkeley, just and you can tell when he plays. This is a smart dude, just reading a defense, being
yep.
able to dissect defenses like that. And I think that has a place in any era of NFL. This one especially. Like I think if the cards play out and the Raiders don't absolutely screw this, I mean maybe we're talking like I don't know top 20 quarterback, top 25 all time. There's real potential here.
I if you're a Raiders fan, I think a safe floor of what you could expect. Or I guess I shouldn't say floor, but like a good middle ground. Like this comp isn't going to wow you, but it's not. You're not going to be upset with this if you're a Raiders fan. If he's like what Jared Goff was early into his career with the Rams, just like, hey, get it to your guys in space. Because with the Rams, when he first got there, it was the Brandon Cooks, Todd Gurley, Cooper Cup show. Like, it was just so electric all over the field. If Mendoza's able to get the ball to Genty, to Brock Bowers, to Jalen Naylor, to all of his other weapons, then it could be really interesting. The one thing that goes in Mendoza's favor really well, and if this is for, I don't know if this is a pro Mendoza stat or a pro Indiana stat, but when he was in the red zone last year, he threw 38 touchdowns and no interceptions. So when it comes to like the most important part of the field, the dude locks in on a whole nother planet. So I think like a Jared Goff, I know people kind of would scoff at that comparison. The, the comparison I have up on the screen is Joe Burrow. I don't think he's there as a Joe Burrow comp because Joe Burrow is arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league, and we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that side of Mendoza to show up, but if he can be that 15th to 8th best quarterback in the league, the Raiders could have a lot of success going forward. But I just don't know how reluctant the Raiders actually want to play him early on. Because right now, granted, it's the ESPN depth chart. They have Cousins as number 1. And we're still 4 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. And we'll see how things shape up. But
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just really interested to see what is it? Not Clint Kubiak. Yeah, Clint Kubiak, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the first year coach of theirs. I'm really curious to see if he relies on the veteran guy or trots out the rookie week 1.
The one thing I find interesting about this, and it's completely different situations because of where they were drafted, expectations for both players heading into their rookie year and everything, but the fact that Mendoza is in a situation where he's gonna potentially, and all signs, I think everything is pointing towards Kirk Cousins starting week 1 from everything I've seen. The fact that he's in the organization that has Tom Brady a part with it is something that I feel like is worth mentioning because you got arguably the greatest quarterback of all time in the same organization. I don't know about same room because I really don't know how involved he is with the organization as a whole. With the first overall pick, who you guys have mentioned is really smart, knows how to find the right moments to make big plays, and the red zone is unbelievable. And I mean, right now I literally have the play in the playoffs, or I think the national championship game, where he just decided to take the ball himself, and he's willing to make those big plays by himself if needed. So I think he really does have kind of the perfect situation for someone if there were ever to be a number 1 overall pick to kind of sit back for a year and learn, because you're not only going to learn from Kirk Cousins, but you potentially, if I'm the Raiders at least, I have him being mentored by Tom Brady. I don't know how involved Tom Brady is with the organization or what the rules are for all that kind of stuff, but I think it's all right in front of him as well as the Raiders. You just need to hopefully put the pieces together the way that they should.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. Some of the other moves that the Raiders made this offseason, we'll just touch on quickly. They signed Kwity Paye from the Colts, I believe. Obviously, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, they signed from Philadelphia, and they signed, or they acquired Taron Johnson from the Bills, a good slot corner. 2 more things on the Raiders, and we'll move on to the next team. How do you think year 1 of the Clint Kubiak scheme is going to go for the Raiders going forward in 2026?
I mean, we saw with Sam Darnold last year, this is a very QB-friendly offense, I would say. So if they do decide, hey, we want to put Mendoza out there, for it being this roster, this is about as good of a situation you could possibly be walking into. Like, I kind of poo-pooed on the receiver room a little bit, but, like, there's potential here in this offense. Like, it doesn't look great now, but it's all young guys. Like, these guys can all pretty much get better, other than, like, I think Colton Miller's getting up there in age. The rest of it, like, not many guys here are older than, like, what, 28, 27 maybe? I will say, this defense, man, they somehow still have Max Crosby. I don't know how that's possible. Haven't even talked about that yet. The fact that he got traded and then didn't get traded like 3 days later, and now he's still
That's
here,
crazy.
is insane. But like, look at this secondary right now. Eric Stokes, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamau, Darian Porter, Teron Johnson, Tradan Stukes. This is a mutt team. It's all like 6'2" corners that are fast.
Yeah.
This is a Madden Ultimate team, and I'm not saying this as a compliment.
You forgot to mention a guy who many people thought was a first-round pick in Jermon McCoy, who they scooped up in the 4th round due to injury concern. So, yeah.
I you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Ashton Genty kind of get put into situations where he can become that running back that also can become a little bit of a receiver if needed. If you look at his college numbers, they're not necessarily amazing in terms of like how much yards he was getting. Like the most he only got over 200 receiving yards 1 year, and that was 2023. So his sophomore campaign, but he was averaging freshman redshirt freshman year. I can't remember if he was a redshirt or not, but was averaging around 11 yards a catch. That 23 season, 13, and then that season that he was competing for the Heisman, he only got 6, but again took a dip again in terms of just targets in general. So maybe this offense is going to be able to get him in that position, and hopefully he can take that next step. I think he said that he's lost a bunch of weight or has gotten in better shape recently. Maybe I saw something wrong. Let me double check on that real quick. But yeah, he needs to take kind of a step up after kind of struggling. I wouldn't say it was a complete failure for his rookie season, but it wasn't like what I think a lot of people were expecting.
I think most will give him a pass just because of how bad the Raiders were just collectively. Now, he didn't play well, but like I feel like Bowers, him, and a couple other guys on their team will just get like this year will be forgotten about. All right, when I say this year, I mean 2025. 2026, though, there are some lofty expectations. This running back room that I almost said Oakland, that Vegas has assembled is intriguing, to say the least, because you have Genty as your RB1. You selected Mike Washington in this past draft, who is an athletic freak. I think he ran like a 4.3 or was it a 4.2 40? Something insanely fast for how big he is. And you have Dylan Lobb, who might get some snaps. And then you took Roman. I think you either took him in one of the last few rounds or you signed him as UDFA. Roman Hemby from Indiana, who played with Mendoza. Not to say a 4th-string running back is going to get much go in a season, but doesn't hurt to have that continuity with your potential face of the franchise and Fernando Mendoza. The last question on the Raiders, and then we'll move on. I guess this is a 2-part question. How shocked are you that Crosby's still on this roster? And if Crosby is to be moved, where do you think a potential suitor could be?
As far as how shocked I am, I'd give it like a 9. The fact that they literally had a trade done, dusted, moved on, we had all been like, wow, that was crazy. And then it was just the Ravens decided, nope, never mind. We don't want him. We're going to go sign Trent Hendrickson instead. I mean, that is one of, if not the craziest offseason developments possibly ever. Certainly up there. If he is to get traded, which I feel like I don't think they would make a trade. I don't think they would trade him like mid-season. But if they were to trade him, I don't know. It feels like a lot of the teams that like really needed edge rusher that would have had a chance to get somebody to like help them move over the hump to like championship contention. Like either they went and got an edge rusher or they just do not have the money to make that happen. So I don't know. I feel like at this point he's just here for this season.
Keep going back and forth on what I think is going to happen. Because, I mean, again, the trade not trade happened. And
I feel
then
like
now,
the best way to relive that experience is to go watch Braden's TikTok of him.
yeah,
Like the clip is of, oh my God, Max Crosby just got traded to the Ravens, and then it just clips to, well, that didn't happen. Something
that
along the
was a
lines of that.
fever dream.
Yeah, that was a crazy 72 hours.
But I feel like if he would to get traded, I definitely think it's going to be a trade deadline situation, and it's going to be a team that like maybe isn't necessarily winning their division, and if they are, maybe they're not in that next level of like Super Bowl contenders, and they're just looking for that one move, that one missing piece that they're looking to make that change to. More of a buy than a team that looking to take them now and then grow later. Um, but I don't know. Again, I've seen a bunch of things all of a sudden that seems like he wants to be in Vegas for his entire career, but that doesn't mean anything anymore in terms of like seeing those videos. So I it's weird because it's like I want to say that I think he'll be traded before next year, but I thought that last year, and he was for a second, and then wasn't.
Yeah. I.e., Mark Williams trade, but like way more important players that were being moved. Like,
Oh yeah,
way, no disrespect to Mark Williams. Mark Williams is a good NBA player. Max Crosby is like a top 3 edge rusher in all of the sport. Like
yeah,
he's that good. He was
This
getting
is
traded
like if the Luka trade just like didn't happen. Like it went through,
like
and
if
then it's like, oh, Luka failed his physical, he has to go back to the Mavs.
like
That's kind of what this feels like.
Nico Harrison was like, "Oh, everyone's making fun of me for this. I probably shouldn't do this. Nah, I'm gonna keep doing this." But
gosh,
the two teams I keep seeing for Crosby, if there's a potential move, I see Chicago as a suitor, and then
that's
the other
fun.
one is Dallas. I This just screams like a Jerry Jones, like way overpay in like week 9. Dallas might be like 5-4, and they're like, oh man, we just need a couple more pieces and then we're there. And they might pay 120 cents on the dollar for what Crosby could demand. But those are the only two teams I could realistically see making a move.
Am I crazy to think that him getting traded to Dallas might be the only situation where I could see the fans of the team that he gets traded to being upset just because they wanted to keep the fans wanted Micah Parsons literally around a year ago, and Jerry Jones said no. And then they may again would take Dallas to another level, but like why trade for someone that's going to be an impactful player when you literally had a impactful player right there that the fans have wanted to keep. So now you're talking me into it. I think it's the most Jerry Jones move to ever happen.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's like, man, that just screams Jerry Jones. Like we're gonna
Because
get
you
to
know what, Jerry
midseason,
Jones.
and the
Go ahead.
whispers of this are gonna be heightened. It's gonna be people screaming about this on
Because
talk
I
shows.
feel
Jerry
like
Jones loves. Go ahead, Braden.
I feel
Sorry.
like I've made this comparison before because I feel like this has come up like in the past. But if I have to play devil's advocate for Jerry Jones here, Max Crosby is probably 80% of the pass rusher Micah Parsons is. Max Crosby is 150% the run stopper.
Yeah,
And Jerry Jones'
Yeah.
whole thing has been we want to stop the run.
Yeah.
Max Crosby is also about what 6 years older,
yeah.
so there's
Crosby, I think,
obviously
is
questions there.
29, maybe 30 years old.
I thought he was like
And
32.
it's
No,
also
he's at
hard to
He's
play.
28. Okay.
Oh, so he's
Wow.
younger than I would have given credit for.
It's
Yeah.
also still hard to play the well, yeah, but Micah ended up doing what he did and getting hurt, unfortunately, this past season. So that doesn't matter. But I mean, hey, it's not necessarily that far. I don't think there's that much degree of separation in terms of where Micah is now and where Max is, because obviously the team that wanted Max found out something about his physical and went, you know what? We're good. we don't need him. But yeah, nothing screams Jerry Jones like saying, "Oh, you guys want him? Well, I don't want him, so let me go and do this instead."
Wait, now edge rusher is a glaring hole on my team. Wait, let me get somebody for
Yeah.
twice the price.
Right. All right. Realistic floor, ceiling, and then gut feeling of what the record's going to be in 2026.
Floor, I do feel like this team has made enough improvements to where I don't think it can be 3-14 bad. Especially looking at their schedule, there are a lot of easy games here. I'm looking at Miami, at Cleveland, the Jets, the Titans, Cardinals. Like there's a lot of easy games here on this Raiders schedule. I don't feel like it can get much worse than 4-13. That feels like absolute floor. Ceiling also doesn't exactly feel super high. I'm going to put it at 7-10 because while there are a lot of easy games, there are a lot of hard games on this schedule. You got to play Kansas City twice. You got to play at New England versus Buffalo. Literally, week 4 through 7 is hell. I'll even throw. We'll talk week 2 through week 7 at the Chargers, at the Saints versus the Chiefs, at the Patriots versus Buffalo versus Los Angeles.
That could be 6 losses.
They might not win a game in that stretch. That might be when Kirk Cousins goes down and we see old Mendoza pop out week 8. That, if I had to give a prediction on the timeline, that feels like what's happening. That said, I'm going to put the ceiling at 7-10. Realistic expectations probably about 5-6 wins.
I'm co-signing on everything Braden just said because what's that game right after week 7? You're at the Jets. And you know what's not a bad team to maybe give Mendoza that first start or that first full opportunity after getting probably destroyed by the Rams the week before. Because I don't know if you want
that Jets
him.
game, it's at San Fran versus Seattle at Denver. So you're back to hell immediately. But hey, at least you get one good game.
But like me personally, I would rather have my rookie quarterback getting that first big starting opportunity against the Jets than Buffalo, the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Bills, or the Rams.
That's
not
what
knowing
we call in college football the tune-up game before you have to play good teams.
Yes.
Yeah, week 8 at the Jets is this is Alabama playing like Fordham in week 7.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I thought the Jets aren't going to be that bad, but like they're just not the same level as the Raiders.
Look at the rest of the schedule.
The Jets will not get the respect from the league until they can like actually make a playoff push. Like they're still getting made fun of from the Aaron Rodgers era and how disastrous that went.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. I mean,
they're still
of
getting
course,
made
I don't
fun
disagree.
of for Mark Sanchez's butt fumble, dude.
Yeah. So.
Brock,
you pretty much agree with Braden on his record?
I could see them winning 3 games though. I could see, which I mean that's not a big difference between 3 and 4, but I could see anywhere between 3 wins to 6 wins. I'm going to go around 5.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm not that far off with you guys as well. The Raiders have the 7th toughest schedule in the NFL this season. They really only have to me, 3 or 4 games that they probably should win. That's at the Jets, home against Miami, home Tennessee, and then if you want to either do the at Arizona or at Cleveland one, that's probably if you're a Raiders fan, those are probably 4 games you somewhat feel confident about. But even then, I don't feel great about this. They make a lot of additions.
Will be at that Arizona game?
7.
1, and his name is Brock Bierman.
No.
But
that's actually I was gonna say that's the cheapest game on the schedule. It's actually not.
It's the Jets game.
Tickets for no. It's so Arizona is $71. The Jets game is 72. The Saints game is 65. You can buy a ticket
Cleveland
for
game.
Yes, it is the Raiders at Cleveland. You can buy a ticket for $37.
Jeez.
It's about what 2 waters and a soda cost at a game anymore. But
Just about.
yeah. It's gonna sound like a broken record, but I'd say for about 3 wins. I'm gonna say ceiling is 6. I still think they go 4-13. Like that's just my gut feeling. Unless Mendoza it plays so much better than what I think he's gonna do. I still think the Raiders need maybe 1 to 2 receivers. But the over under win total for the Raiders this season is set at 5.5. So people with information clearly are more favorable with the Raiders than probably we're giving them credit for. But I don't know. It's yet to be determined. But
It sucks that like they don't really have a dominant receiving room because that does hold back Mendoza's first year. And I'm worried about people like letting what happens potentially this year determine his like potential for a career when in reality I think next year they could be a team that drafts multiple wide receivers or signs multiple wide receivers because I feel like they're going to need to in order to give him confidence. He's got Brock Bowers. That's great. But like even Tom Brady needed an Edelman, a Welker, Amendola, insert any other wide receiver that they had around that time.
Randy Moss, perchance.
Randy Moss.
All I'm saying is this team will likely end up towards the top of the lottery. No, not lottery, but in the draft.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith, well, come on down.
there you go.
Would be a good pick.
Or, I mean, if they don't end up like top 3, Ryan Coleman Williams still has something in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah, people still remember
Got to be
that.
better than Trey Tucker.
That crazy Georgia
No
game.
disrespect.
But real quick, I want to remind everyone to be sure to follow all the socials that are below Braden's face cam, the center graphic, and the Brock's face cam, the Instagram, the Twitter, and the Facebook, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page as well. It really helps out and goes a long way. But there's that little plug. Did not think that the longest preview we've done this far would be the Raiders, but I think time-wise it is by far. So that's interesting. But the next team we're going to be talking about is none other than my Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs obviously had a disappointing 2025 campaign. Did make some offseason additions such as signing Kenneth Walker, 3 years, $45 million, signing Alohi Gilman, 3 years, $24 million, re-signing Tyquan Thornton, 2 years for $11 million. And then with their 2 first-round selections, they drafted Mansour Lane, the corner out of LSU, and Peter Woods, the defensive tackle out of Clemson. Guys, this team went 6-11 last year and just couldn't win the close game at all. The one-score game really flipped on them from 2024 to 2025. And my question for you guys is, will their additions bring them back to contention? Or as Braden said before we started recording, are they cooked? ?
I mean, training camp footage is tough to grade because, I mean, it's training camp at the end of the day. These guys are not up to playing speed. But if you've seen some of the clips that have been coming out of this Chiefs offense, it does not look good. I think there's been a couple moments in there where they've looked like okay, but like, yeah, man. I mean, Kenneth Walker, welcome to Kansas City. They're going to need you, man. Although I think I saw you look at, I think when Donovan McNabb tore his ACL or Achilles or something like that, with Andy Reid as the coach, you look at the drive summary of the first drive he came back, it was like drop back, punt. Like they were asking him to do a ton, which if they try to do that to Patrick Mahomes, I don't think it's going to end well. That's just my shot. I'm going to call that now. If Andy Reid has not learned from his mistakes, it could possibly be over before it even gets a chance to start back up.
I go back and forth on this team. You did sign Kenneth Walker, who I feel like could be one of the things that puts them back in that position to compete for a Super Bowl. I think not a lot of people are really talking about that as much as I feel like maybe they should, or at least I haven't seen it when consuming media in preps for this season. Yeah, this is a weird team because, again, take trading camp videos, photos, whatever you may see with a grain of salt. You had players in certain positions, well, certain players that may be considered the best in their own position, showing up after a wedding, not necessarily looking to be in the greatest shape, but again, it's training camp. And when you're considered one of the best tight ends of all time, it's not too hard to probably get back in shape. Um, but yeah, the wide receiver room is back in. You're guaranteed three things in life: death, taxes, and not knowing what to expect, except for maybe disappointment from the Kansas City wide receiver room. And maybe that means all signs are pointing towards a signing in free agency. I think, Dawson, you've hinted at maybe a reunion of a former All-Pro wide receiver. I don't know if you're still on that anymore.
God, he's gotta get healthy fast. The season's coming up quick. He still
Yeah,
says he's still recovering and doesn't have strength in his leg. So
yeah, and
we're,
I
we're in
honestly don't know if
August.
he'll ever play again.
Yeah.
But it's this is so unfortunate, dude. So much, I know a lot of people love hating on Patrick Mahomes, but like within a span of 3 years, it went from if he beats the Eagles, we're really already talking about if he's already top five, if not creeping up even more all time as an NFL player. Then the performance that the entire Chiefs team had in that Super Bowl completely silenced all that. Like he's going to have to do a lot more to get back in that conversation. And then you have this past season where you finished with 6 wins. Home field advantage was not a thing anymore. You have an injury. You were 1-7 on the road, and Dawson, you mentioned those one-score games just flipped the other way, which that happens too. That's another thing people need to realize is that like there's everything averages out. Like
Return to the mean.
that exactly. It's very rare that you get away with something like that and it doesn't come back and bite you in the back end. I mean, to honestly use an Iowa State related example, Matt Campbell sucked in one possession games for a while, and then the one year that he had an unbelievable year, won 10 games first time ever in the program's history as a head coach. A lot of those were one possession games that they ended up winning those, and then the following year that came back and bite them in the butt again. That's just what happens. So maybe that means the Chiefs are going to turn around and all these close games they're going to be back in it, but I don't know. The wide receiver room is the biggest question to me because I don't know what they're going to be able to do. Um, or I don't know a guy that I'm like, okay, that's my guy. Outside of like players that have on and off again issues, I guess. But that doesn't mean I don't see them winning this division. That's the crazy part because I still think with Patrick Mahomes, even if he is still recovering, they can still easily win the division. That's just because I know he's able to put the team in the best situation possible. They literally a lot of these games that they gotten blown out, struggled, or whatever. If half of their team played okay, they probably would have either been in them or they would have won those games because Pat Mahomes keeps them in those games 90% of the time.
Guys, so you're aware that training camp started like a week ago, right? Like we're all in the NFL landscape. Um, I saw a tweet that scarred me for Kansas City football this year. Said Kansas City's wide receiver one, like team one, that was trotted out there. Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Royals, and Andrew Armstrong. Outside of Tyquan
I'm
Thornton, are you familiar with either Jalen Royals or Andrew Armstrong?
Jalen Royals sounds familiar. Andrew
He
Armstrong does not.
Jalen Royals was a fourth round pick in 2025, played one game, and was sent to the doghouse for the entire season by Andy Reid.
Where did he play college at?
Utah State,
I don't know him. Never mind.
aka Spencer Petras weapon in his final year.
Oh, that might be it. That might be
Yeah.
why.
But um, this is the most nervous I've been entering a season in quite some time. I don't want to spoil it, but this will probably be the first year in a long time that I don't think Kansas City has what it takes to get back to the Super Bowl. Because I think I've picked Kansas City to come out of the AFC every single year since they run it up to New England in the AFC title game. Just because, like, when you have Mahomes, you're always in it. But I don't trust the rest of this offense to hold up their end of the bargain. Kenneth Walker's a good addition, but if Andy Reid doesn't run some snaps under center, then I don't really know what good Kenneth Walker's really going to do for the offense going forward. They drafted Emmett Johnson, who I hate to say it, he's from Nebraska, but dude looks like a stud. But who knows if he's actually going to play? Andy Reid doesn't like to really play rookie running backs unless he absolutely has to. So we'll see if that ends up playing out. You obviously have the Rashee Rice stuff, which I think he practiced today as we're recording, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. Xavier Worthy's been hurt. He's been healthy. He's been hurt. He's been healthy. I don't really know. And then your best weapon is a 36, soon to be 37-year-old tight end. Like we're still at that point with Kansas City. And then defensively, just when you trade a guy like Trent McDuffie's an all-pro type of corner, and I like what I see for Mansour Delane, but Mansour Delane isn't healthy right now either. He's going to be missing all of training camp and might miss some regular season games. So to sum it all up, this is the most nervous I've ever been for a Chiefs season since I was like a freshman in high school, which is wild to actually say that out loud.
Spoiled brat.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. But do you guys have any other thoughts on Kansas City? I know we'll go over like their win total and the schedule and stuff like that, but any other thoughts on some of the additions that we maybe haven't covered this offseason?
Can Justin Fields catch? Because I don't know if he's going to play quarterback, but you're telling me
Get him in that land ram formation.
I mean,
hey, Andy Reid
can't be worse.
When he had McNabb and Vic, he did have packages where Vic was out there as like a scat back, like, hey, look over here, throws it the other way. So, not saying it's not like an meaningful and impactful is what the word I just combined. That was crazy. A meaningful impact, but they also traded him for a 6th round pick. So I don't really know what you're going to get value-wise out of Justin Fields.
I keep hearing this like idea of trying to get Justin Fields in that like Taysom Hill type role. And the fact that no one has really ever taken advantage and tried to do that makes me think that they've tried in terms of in practice and tried to think it through, and it just doesn't work. Because it does take just a special athlete to be able to do that. And there's a reason not many people have been able to do that. And so, but it would be fun to see. Like, I mean, like, the only problem is that if you guys have offensive line issues again, you're gonna want to keep your quarterbacks healthy. Unfortunately, that's where you're kind of at. Unfortunately,
I will say, I mean, take away the right tackle, Jalen Moore. I don't really know what to expect there. This is a very good offensive line. Josh Simmons looked like a stud last year when he played. Kingsley Suamataia is, I mean, not somebody I've seen a ton of tape on, but from what I've heard, he has something there. Creed Humphrey's one of the best, if not the best center in the league. I don't think that's a discussion to be even had there. Trey Smith, same thing. One of, if not the best guard in the game. Like, there's something here with this offensive line. Like, the offensive line looks really good, and Kenneth Walker's really good. Unfortunately, running the ball means Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the football. So we'll see how much interest Andy Reid actually has in doing that.
and I'm excited to see what your guys' defense looks like, because they did spend a lot of draft capital on some rookies this year on the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, There's a reason that the Chiefs have had the success they've had on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of these runs that they've had to the Super Bowl. He knows how to put his guys in position to win every play or every other play, whatever it may be. And actually, it might be their defense this year that keeps them in those games. It could be a reverse role where you see the Chiefs pulling out these one-score games because their defense maybe takes a little bit of a step up. Yes, McDuffie not being there is a big loss, but you have, in my opinion, probably the best defensive coordinator in football still on your side. So,
I think losing Leo Chenal is also going to hurt a
yeah.
pretty good amount. And
Yeah.
also, Felix Onyedike-Uzomah, at least on the ESPN depth chart, is listed as a starter. Has he played more than 2 snaps?
Not since like 2024, 2023. So there you go.
Ashton Gelati or Mason Thomas looked like they had something coming out of college. We'll see what that ends up turning into, but R. Mason Thomas really, Gelati not as much, but R. Mason Thomas is very much not a Spags edge rusher. Also
Not at
very
all.
much not a 3-down guy. So you're going to need a generational step up from Onyedike-Uzomah if you want to have the type of production that we've kind of come to expect out of a Spags defense.
Yeah. One thing I have seen come out of training camp so far is, now take this with a grain of salt, we're still 5 weeks out from the season, but they're not even starting Jalen Moore in the first team reps. They're starting an undrafted free agent at right tackle in Khalil Benson, who was a starting tackle for Indiana last year. Again, it's not nothing, but I don't know if they're truly going to go into the season with a UDFA rookie starting at tackle with Mahomes coming off of a major knee injury. I just, that's a wait till the season starts to see if that actually ends up happening. But no, we're obviously going to talk about this team a lot throughout the season because bias and just because they're one of the more intriguing teams to talk about in all of the NFL. But I want your guys' realistic floor, ceiling, and record prediction for the Chiefs in 2026.
So I don't know. Whenever I make my like floors, ceilings, and stuff, I feel like my strategy for the floor changes like every time I try to set one. Floor, I mean, yeah, this roster did take a couple steps back, but I mean, you got K9, and that run game was atrocious last year. But like looking at this schedule also doesn't exactly give a ton of confidence. It's not a horrible schedule, but I'm gonna put floor 7-10. There's simply no universe where it gets worse than last year. I mean, they were on track to finish about 8-9, 9-8 before Mahomes went down, and then at that point, the wheels just fell completely off the train at that point. But ceiling, I will say this is the biggest range I have for a team in this division. I'm putting the ceiling at 12-5. This is still the Chiefs we're talking about. As long as Patrick Mahomes has any tread left on the tires, you can't put a ceiling any lower than like the 2 seed. You just can't do that. Realistic expectations, 10-7. They sneak in as a wild card.
Literally co-signing again. That's exactly what I had written down. 10-7, 12 wins is the max. Floor around 7, if not maybe similar to last year. I think there's I have little doubt that they're going to finish below 9 this year, but that's assuming everything goes well. So give me 10 wins for them.
Kansas City has, make sure my mic's on. Yep, Kansas City has the 5th toughest schedule in the NFL this upcoming season. You mentioned some of their games. They open the season home against Denver, then home against Indianapolis. Really, their first 4 weeks are like, okay, we feel pretty good about where we're at as a team. That Denver game's obviously going to be your tough one, but like home against Indianapolis, at Miami, at Vegas, those aren't like that tough of games. But when you start week 6 and then basically until week 16, there's a couple in between that are just like kind of, I wouldn't say cupcake games, but like kind of. You're home against the Chargers, at Seattle, at Denver. The Jets one is a toss-up. At Atlanta, home Arizona, at Buffalo, at the Rams, at Cincinnati, home New England, home San Fran. Like, there are some brutal games, especially that 3-game road stretch in December and November with Buffalo, the Rams, and the Bengals. 2 of those teams are your arch rivals. One of those teams is the Super Bowl favorite. So, could be a tough stretch for them. I'm going to have, for me, I'm obviously going to be biased, so I'll try to hide my bias the best I can. But I'll say 4, 8, and 9. I don't see it a realm, like Braden said, they were on pace to go 8 and 9 last year. And then once Mahomes went down, it was just like, we're not going to win games. We're just going to try to get a better draft pick, which I don't necessarily disagree with that approach. And ceiling, I would like to say 13 wins, but I don't think Kansas City is a team anymore at this stage that needs to have a super high playoff seed to make some noise. Because a few years ago, when they won that Super Bowl against San Fran, they shown that they can go on the road in the playoffs and win meaningful games. So it's not like they need to have home field advantage. Granted, it helps quite a bit. But I'm going to set their ceiling at 12-5. I think they're going 11-6 this year. That would be my gut feeling as of right now. I still have a lot of questions. I would really like the receiver room to have an addition at some point, whether that is a Tyreek Hill or, God, at this point, with the news of Diggs getting signed with Washington today, I mean, the wide receiver market's bare, to say the least. But I still feel like 11-6, probably finish second, maybe third in the division, just because I think the top end of this division could be really good. But the over-under win total for Kansas City this upcoming year is 10.5. So we're all kind of on the same. I said 11. Braden said 10. Brock, you also said 10. Is that correct?
I misread my notes. I scrolled down to the Chargers. I actually have the
Okay.
Chiefs at 11.
Okay, so we're all within a game. We're around that range of what the over-under win total could be. But
Yeah.
Anything else to add on Kansas City before we move into the second place team in the AFC West last year?
As long as Patrick Mahomes can stay healthy, they'll be in contention.
I don't disagree. Moving on to the team that finished second in the AFC West last year, that is none other than the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers made some key additions this offseason, signing center Tyler Biadasz. Is that how you say? Braden's my pronunciation guy on the pod.
I think it's Biotish, but who's
We'll
to
go
say?
with that. Yeah, there we go. Signed tight end Charlie Kohler, signed defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, and then with their draft selections, they selected Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher out of Miami, as well as Jake Slaughter, the center out of Florida. Guys, Chargers finished 11-6, second in the AFC West last year. The question I have, and this is kind of poking fun, but I'm a Chiefs fan. I can pick on the Chargers if I want to. But will the Chargers take that next step and win a playoff game? And I wanted to add finally onto that, but just didn't want to put the extra characters on that. But yeah, do you think the Chargers take that next step this year and win a playoff game?
I mean, I feel like roster-wise, this is like fairly the same roster. I mean, we do finally get to see Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt back healthy again. Hopefully, they can stay healthy. That's going to be a big catalyst, and will they actually be able to do anything? But most of my like thought on this is more based on the coaching hires that they made with Mike McDaniels or OC. I think that is a plus. Unfortunately, Adam Gase is their passing coordinator, I believe, so that is a minus. Big. So that said, I mean, talent-wise, this feels like a team that has always kind of had the talent to make it happen. It's just a matter of like one thing or another just kind of falls down mid-season, and it just kind of doesn't happen. So if they can stay healthy, I do think this is a team that could win at least one playoff game finally. But who's to say?
They I had to look on Twitter just to make sure that it actually happened. Um, they're a team that could they're a team and a franchise right now that could get ruined by uh, pop culture media. Just the amount of I'm not even joking. Like we've seen this happen before, but and this is not like saying that Justin Herbert shouldn't be happy or whatever, but I don't know if you guys seen the video of him at practice with. Are they married? I honestly don't know. Are they going to get married?
I
Whatever.
think they're engaged. But yeah.
But again, if you guys are happy together, that's great. More power to you. It's not even me complaining about him. It's me complaining about the media because this is going to be the next you're going to hear all about it to the point where fans are going to get mad and turn against him, and then anything that happens negatively against the Chargers. I don't know. I'm not a big pop culture mixing with sports guy sometimes because I feel like it can negatively impact careers, franchises, other things. Hopefully this is not going to be something that the media oversaturates and makes people want to turn on the Chargers and if the Chargers end up struggling, that's the well, if he wasn't dating a pop star, blah blah blah, like that. Am I crazy to say that? Because I feel like that's a thing. I feel like we've seen that before, but I don't.
I'm gonna just rip the Band-Aid off because I feel like we're trying to avoid names right now. Travis Kelce gets hate for marrying Taylor Swift because people don't like Taylor
I honestly
Swift.
wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not
that's-
Trust me,
that-
I live with that as a fan of
I'm
the
just gonna
franchise.
say the names because why
Yeah.
not?
I'm not gonna lie, that went right over.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't even consider that.
I kind of just assumed that was the one. But
I
I think
guess I'm
that's
just
mostly it. I don't know. Madison Beer, I guess, I don't know. I immediately go from, I'm not afraid to say names to now I'm entirely afraid to say names because I know this is not a corner of the internet I want to make upset. Global influence. I don't feel like it's. Nope, not doing it.
We're just
doing it.
three dudes talking about
But
sports.
We're
That's
three
all
dudes
we
talking
do.
about sports, and I hope they all live happy,
Yeah.
healthy, fantastic
You
lives.
get what I mean, though. It's not necessarily them; it's the media that is the issue.
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I'm worried about. Again, I'm not on saying that they shouldn't be happy. It's great. If anything,
And
It's a
Brock
good-
has just
it's a
upset
good-
all three Los Angeles Chargers fans that exist.
it's funny. I know one, and I think I've
So
mentioned that
four.
before.
Sorry, four Chargers fans that exist.
But again, good for them. Hopefully, they have a long-lasting, healthy, happy relationship. All that stuff. It's the media that I'm worried about because they just love to oversaturate and push things, and it in turn makes people upset. That's just what happens. However, you have a head coach that is old school, so that's a good thing. That's a plus. You don't have to really worry about too much issues with him or controversies unless you're counting sign stealing or cheating on game plans or whatever. But no, I like
Other
this
than
team.
those two.
Other than those two, but that was only in the college ranks,
Yeah.
He's a changed man. Who's got it better than him?
Is he not allowed to sign Connor Stallions with the Chargers? Is that
I
just
would have to assume that somebody would be like, "Hey,
Do you think?
Where's the line?
Did he try, or is he scared to ask?
I don't. Harbaugh is not exactly a man that's scared of anything. Jim Harbaugh
But
is not afraid of
do you,
anything.
do you think he knows his boundaries? Hey, I probably shouldn't push my limits on this one.
I think he knows
I
his
could see
boundaries.
that.
Doesn't mean he's not going to flirt with it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Where's the?
I feel like that might have been
think it's
something
in
that
his
came up in the
contract.
interview. Hey, if
in
you
the
ever even
contract.
think about it, you're gone. We're not
The
playing these
Connor
games.
Stallions clause. If you even say his name, You're fired. No pay in the contract.
I just have to imagine like there's an office somewhere in like the Chargers headquarters, whatever, with just a picture of Connor Stallions with like a cross through it. It's like, if you see this man, escort him from the facility immediately.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Why-
Honestly, it's kind of believable.
Last thing, what's it with Michigan coaches leaving after they win it all? They're just like, yeah, we're good. Harbaugh did it. Dusty May, excuse me, not Dustin May. Dustin May's a pitcher for the Brewers, I think.
All I will say is, I think that don't be shocked if that becomes somewhat of a norm, because college athletics is constantly changing, and I think I think there's more to it than people are really putting on why maybe one of them left because he was going to lose his job. The other one left potentially because of where NIL funds were being given more to. That's my 2 cents, but
yeah. Brock, did you give your thoughts on the Chargers moves?
no, I was talking about Madison Beer the whole time.
Yeah.
But I do think they're going to be a good team. I did like the signing, obviously, of Kohler, because I think he's actually going to get targets this year and take that next big step maybe into his career. The other thing that I did like is they kind of addressed the offensive line a little bit in the offseason. I think they signed and drafted a center this offseason.
Yeah.
And then also drafted another offensive lineman in the draft in the 4th round in Travis Burke. But that's a good thing, because Justin Herbert needs all the time in the world. Well, not necessarily all the time in the world. He needs just the protection, I guess, is what he needs.
An adequate amount of time in the world.
He needs time. Period.
There you go.
Yes.
Braden said it
He
best.
needs, because there were moments where literally it felt like the center would snap the ball and the entire offensive line might as well have just laid down, because that's what it felt like at times for him.
I will say, obviously, I mean, I already mentioned the tackles were hurt, so they weren't really there. This isn't. I think between week 18 last year and this season, this is an entirely new offensive line, because Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt didn't play. Jake Slaughter is currently projected to be their starting left guard, Biotish at center, Cole Strange at right guard. I don't think any of those guys were there last year, and that is for the best. Trevor Penning is also here. Didn't know that. I forgot. Did they draft or did
Is that the Northern Iowa guy?
Yeah, he was the guy that was like the 18th overall pick out of Northern Iowa to the Saints.
He is
stinky. Not good. I don't
Yeah.
know if they signed Isaiah World or if they drafted him. That is a mammoth of a man.
I think he's a UDFA. But yeah.
Either way, that's
Yeah.
you want. If I had to pick, there are plenty of options for bodyguard as far as people that play in the NFL. Isaiah World is one of those guys. He is just a big dude.
Yeah. Some of the other moves that they made that we'll touch on real quick. They re-signed Trey Lance to be their backup quarterback. We already touched on the Charlie Kohler signing. They signed David Njoku. So, like, you kind of have that, like, yin and yang with the tight end room anymore. Because you have Gadsden, who is a breakout star, who's, like, your vertical threat. You have Charlie Kohler, who's going to be your blocking guy that's going to help out Amarian Hampton. And then you kind of have, David Njoku, who's kind of like a mix of both. Who can, like, run block when needed, but it can also go out in the passing game and be super effective. So that scared the heebie-jeebies. That scared the heebie-jeebies out of me.
Mic.
Yeah.
She usually doesn't meow when I hold her. That was
just
I don't know why.
wow.
That was straight in the mic too.
It was such a
That was
negative
awesome.
response too.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they also signed. Gosh darn it! They also re-signed Khalil Mack to be back on the roster. Derwin James agreed to an extension. Tony Jefferson's back with the team. Denzel Perriman's back. I think he was on the Chargers and left and came back. But this team is going to be a good football team going forward if they can fix that offensive line and not have Herbert on the ground. Again, though, I mean, I remember Braden bringing up this stat last year during the season that like out of like 70 something qualified like guards or something, Trevor Penning was like dead last at every position he could have potentially played. So just as long as he's not really getting meaningful snaps for him, I think the Chargers will be doing okay in that manner. But
Didn't he
what
have
is
some like not necessarily like major issues, but like I think he had some like disagreements with the Saints, if I remember right. I swear he like wasn't on good terms with them when he left.
maybe?
Well, I mean, he sucked, so
Yeah.
didn't exactly do much favors.
Yeah, he
there
was
either.
kicked out of practice. This was a article in August of 22. Dang, he's been in the league that long. He was
I
kicked
think
out of
22
practice
was his
after the
rookie
third.
year.
Oh, so this was his rookie year. So
Yeah, what
in
what
his
is
rookie
the
year,
tone for your NFL career?
he was
Get
kicked
kicked
out
out
of
of
practice
training.
after his third incident in 3 days.
Yeah, you hate to see a UNI guy like do that in the NFL because
It hurts the
finding a
program,
guy,
man.
yeah, finding a guy that not only played at Northern Iowa that actually is like an NFL player, it's pretty hard to come by anymore. Obviously, like Brock eventually is gonna have to get his jersey back up, but David Johnson,
Yep.
stud Northern Iowa player. There was a defensive tackle that played for the Chiefs for a while, Xavier Williams, who's pretty good, who played at Northern Iowa. Um, but just it's not a great look.
You're forgetting the Hall of Famer.
What was his name? That was before my time. Like
Oh.
when Kurt Warner was good, I was like trying to think. When he was good with the Rams, I wasn't alive. When he was good with the Cardinals, I was like
That's
4,
fair.
maybe 5. So
Wasn't it?
I was a wee little lad.
Wait. Okay, how old are you? I'm trying to remember our age difference.
23.
Okay.
Didn't they go to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl in 2008, 2009? I'd
Yeah,
have been like 5 or 6.
never mind.
And then when he won his 2 MVPs with the Rams, I wasn't born yet. He won it in 99 and then 2001. So there you go.
Won an MVP my first year of life.
There we go. Oh man.
Hey, it starts with a 2, not a 1, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, as long as good thing Brock's birthday doesn't start with the 19. Then that's dinosaur.
That's crazy.
Just people with 19. Like, imagine.
Gross. But
I started annoying some of my coworkers because I go, as the youngest person in the office, because we're in marketing and communications.
yeah. The best
And
part
it's great.
is like I'm the youngest in my department as well by a wide margin, by like 20 years. And they'll be talking about movies or songs that came out in the 90s or 80s. And I just hit them with the line, like, I don't listen to music that came out with the 19 as the starting date. And then they instantly just get immediately ticked off. And they start getting mad. But
Yeah, I
gotta love
I,
Rage
I
Bait.
am the same way where I think I'm the youngest in my like department by a solid at least 15 to 20 years. I learned pretty soon on to just shut up and put my head down whenever they start talking about like stuff that happened in like the 90s and 80s because it's like I even like 2000s or like 2010 stuff is like I can't even say anything. They're talking about it as if it was like 3 days ago. I'm like, dude, I was a middle schooler
Yeah.
when this happened.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do about it?
What are we talking about? Oh, the Chargers. That's
That's
Easy
how
team to
interesting
forget.
they are.
yeah. That I'm gonna go out on a limb. This will be the shortest clip out of the 4 teams in this division, but we do have to ask, fellas, what is your realistic floor, ceiling, and gut prediction record for the Chargers in the year 2026?
I mean, I have a floor written down that feels kind of harsh, but you know what? No, I'm gonna keep it where it is. I have the floor at 8 and 9. That I don't know. I don't love that, but also I don't really know how much the additions. I mean, the offensive line is greatly improved. I will say that, but I mean, who's to say that Mike McDaniel? I mean, it worked well for the Niners, but like, how many of the shots was Mike McDaniel actually calling for the Niners as an offensive coordinator? Probably not many. I mean, the Dolphins had a couple years where they made the playoffs, but again, you had prime Tyreek Hill in there, and I don't know if you've looked at this receiver room. There's not a lot of prime Tyreek Hill I'm seeing in this receiver room.
Is
So
Quentin Johnson still there?
he is still there. He is listed as wide receiver 2. Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Trey Harris. Brendan Thompson, I guess, is like
Yeah.
as close as you're going to get Chargers receiver room wise. And I only say that because he's fast. That is
Yeah.
the only thing he's got going for him.
Didn't he? He had the fastest 40 out of all players, or at least all receivers.
I think so. I
believe.
think he had like a 4.26, I want to say.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just tired of this team at this point. It feels like they just kind of keep running back the same general kind of figuration and just kind of isn't working.
They're the
But I
Ravens
don't
without
know.
the pressure.
Pretty much, yeah. Down to coach's last name and everything. Ceiling,
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
put...
Not anymore. Not anymore, though.
Well, not anymore, but
Well,
like
yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as history goes. Ceiling 11-6, same as they did last year. I'm gonna put realistic expectations at like 10-7. This is still a team that can make the playoffs, but again, like we started this segment with, will they actually win a game? Because I feel like the playoffs at this point, especially like if you make it, that's kind of all that matters. It's a matter of will you actually win anything once you get there.
Big reason why they were successful last year was being able to win some major games on the road, whether neutral site or whatever. Um, they got some really tough road games this year, so that's why my floor might be very, very harsh sounding. So, like, let's say they lose all of their major road games against the Rams, Denver, Baltimore, Kansas City, Seattle, Buffalo. Maybe they get upset by Tampa Bay. Uh, I see a world where they go 6 wins. I know that sounds harsh, but like I'm talking like major fall off with production this year, and they lose all their major road games. If they lose at Miami, then they are definitely winning 6 games. But again, this is major. Like everything falls. Trevor Penning plays, and Herbert gets hurt.
Okay.
There we go.
That's what we're talking.
There we go.
Trey Lance is playing football. That's where we're at. With
Which
this.
would make Braden
Finally!
ecstatic.
I can break back out the Trey Lance jersey.
But then again, ceiling 12 wins. Like you have Justin Herbert. Like we can't deny that he's not a good quarterback. Like come on. And again, I know a Chargers fan. They're waiting for that year that he can be undeniable. Like you cannot deny that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think there's an argument there. He just hasn't had the season. He hasn't had the team success to be able to really like make that undeniable. Like, and that's unfortunate. Like you have to have good team success, long playoff runs to really be able to be considered one of the best, if not the best in the league at your position. So 12 wins would be my ceiling, but again, even with that harsh floor, I still have them winning 10 games, going 10-7 this year.
Yeah, the Chargers have the 8th toughest schedule in the NFL, with their opponent average winning percentage around 52%, so like slightly above 500. Their schedule is pretty rough in some spots, especially like week 3 to week 10. Like, look at that gauntlet of a schedule. It's Buffalo on the road, Seattle on the road, home Denver, at Kansas City, at the Rams, home Houston, at Baltimore. Like that is six no, I don't know how to count. 7 brutal games in the middle of your season. So that's not going to be fun. They do have some easier games. They do play Arizona, Vegas, Miami. And honestly, at this point, I don't really know what to make of Tampa Bay. There's a lot of bad vibes coming from Tampa Bay, and we'll touch on that division eventually when we get closer to the
Not
season. But
happy.
yeah, bad vibes coming out of the NFC South, specifically from Tampa Bay. But like, so those games could be winnable, but I am going to set my realistic floor at, I'm going to say 8 and 9. Just feels like offensive line wise, they were very, very rough last year, and they still managed to win 11 games. Granted, they got annihilated by New England in the wild card round. So like, even if you win 11 games this year, if you still lose in round 1, like, everyone's still gonna be upset. Ceiling, I'll just say 11 and 6. I don't really have much wiggle room for them unless something catastrophic happens. I'll say gut feeling right now, for me anyway, at 10 and 7. Their over/under win total this year is 9.5. So I think we're all in the same agreement, all in the same range for the Chargers. Do you guys have anything else to add before we talk into the division winner from last year?
Drafting Akeem Mesidor to be the developmental guy to learn behind Khalil Mack is kind of insane considering Mesidor is like 26.
Yeah, his
Just
rookie contract will be up. He'll be 30. So, yeah. Good point, Braden.
Chargers for you.
There you go. Moving on to the
That's
last
right.
team. Yeah. Moving on to the last team in the AFC West. That is the Denver Broncos, who obviously won this division with a 14-3 record last year. They didn't really make a whole lot of offseason moves. They re-signed a lot of their guys, but obviously the big one that everyone's going to talk about, they acquired Jalen Waddle in a trade with the Miami Dolphins. They re-signed tight end Adam Troutman, re-signed running back J.K. Dobbins, and then with some of their draft picks, they selected Tyler O'Dunium, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, who I believe also played at Iowa State. Am I wrong on that?
Cyclone legend Tyler O'Needham.
Yeah. And then they also selected Jonah Coleman, the running back out of Washington, in the back half of round 4, I want to say. But, guys, this team, like I said, didn't really lose a whole lot in free agency. Kind of just, they're going to run back everything. They believe in their system. They won 14 games last year, won the division. We're the number 1 overall seed, which is still crazy to look back on. But the question I have for you guys, and then we'll get into the Broncos a little bit more, is was last season a fluke or something that is sustainable for Denver going forward?
Do I believe that it, like, is this saying, like, do I think they have, like, 1 seed potential, or is this saying, like, can they win the division and make a playoff push?
Make another playoff push. Like, because last year, I'm in the belief that if Knicks doesn't go down at the end of the Buffalo game, I think they beat New England. Like, if they would have had competent quarterback play in that AFC title game, no offense to Stidham, but sorry, just it's. And I'm not a big Bo Nix.
One Stidham fan.
I'm not a big Bo Nix believer to begin with, but like, there's levels to NFL quarterback play. There's backup level, there's 15th-ish quarterback level, and then there's top
Kirk
guys.
Cousins.
Yeah, the Kirk Cousins, like.
I think Kirk
line.
Cousins should just be a label.
You know, baseball has like, they have like advanced analytics of like OPS plus, which like if it's 100, it's just average. There should be like NFL statistics of average, and it's just Kirk Cousins, just all across the board. But
It's like how they have, like, the Mendoza line, where, what is it, like, below 200 batting average?
yeah,
If you're below the Kirk Cousins line, you need to draft your replacement.
yeah,
The Kirk
good way to put
Cousins
it.
line We
That-
need
you know what,
we
that
need to
might-
make a
that
list
may
every
be a-
year for that for our quarterbacks.
That's a between the hashes exclusive right there. We've trademarked it. We've copyrighted it. We have the Kirk Cousins line of mediocrity.
Man, I tell you what, man, I have some good ideas every now and
You
then.
do.
The Friscometer and now the Kirk Cousins line. I'm goated with the sauce, man.
You are.
Anyways, what were we talking about? The Broncos being good at football? Sure, yeah, I could see
Is
that.
what they did last year sustainable?
I think it is. I mean, Bo Nix in his first 2 seasons has looked like at least a top 2 quarterback out of this class so far. I would say fairly. I mean, you have May, Caleb. Yeah, okay. So and Daniels is pretty good.
You
Okay,
may have
let
jumped
me,
the gun
talked
just a
let me
yourself
walk
out
that
of
one
it.
back. Let me walk that one back a little
You're
bit.
like, you know what? Bo Nix is the best player ever.
You just-
oh,
You
wait.
just saw firsthand a man say a take and immediately talk himself out of the take within the span
Yeah.
of 20 seconds.
That was
Yeah.
great.
Hey, you said you wanted me to go crazy.
You know what?
You didn't say how
Fire-
long I had to go crazy for. I can
Fire away.
immediately walk back and apologize for it.
Fire away.
But no, it feels like people either think Bo Nix is like God or terrible at the sport. He's pretty good. He'll get the job done for you. At least so far as what we've seen out of his NFL career. He can get the job done. J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey look like a pretty solid running back duo. Jonah Coleman has potential there in like a Jarek McKinnon Chiefs role where he's just kind of there as like a pass protector demon. Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle is a receiver duo I am very excited to see. Troy Franklin had some flashes last year. Even like Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims had moments last year where they didn't look bad. Offensive line, Garrett Bowles has developed into one of the better tackles. Mike McGlinchey somehow looks like not awful. I don't know where that came from, but he kind of just pulled up to Denver and was like, oh, yeah, that's how you play football. Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah.
Defense, is going to be good. They didn't really lose any, but they lost John Franklin Myers.
Yeah.
That will probably hurt, but they have guys that I think will be able to pick up the slack there a decent amount. They also lost Dre Greenlaw, but let's just face the facts. He was not very good for Denver even when he played, so not really much to replace there. Yeah, I think obviously Sean Payton's going to be a Hall of Fame head coach once it's all said and done, if he's not already. But yeah, this is the team. I think they can do it again.
I might be using a reference to something. Some people will get it, some people are not. When it comes to the Broncos and their quarterback, I am a believer. I think that he has what it takes to maybe take this team back to the playoffs and maybe make a run. Problem is that he is in a very difficult division to be able to do that. And I will say, first of all, I am kind of offended you guys haven't really talked about the real huge signing that they had at wide receiver this offseason. But
This is the Hakeem Butler mention, isn't it?
yeah, that's like 3-time reigning offensive player of the year in the UFL, Hakeem Butler, to you, bud. No, Jalen
Fun fact,
Waddle's
everyone.
great.
Brock is an owner of a 1-of-1 RPA Hakeem Butler Nike swoosh card.
Shout out
Proud
Dawson
owner
for
of it.
coming in clutch
There
for
we go.
that. It's
I
in
have
my
seen this
safe.
card. It is as good as it sounds.
It's a good looking card too. It's not like a one that you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
they kind of threw this together. This is a good card, but yeah, shout out Dawson for coming in clutch for that. But I mean, you got a Hall of Fame head coach, you got 2 really good wide receivers, you have a defense that's always going to be causing chaos no matter who they're playing. This is a team that you're going to be struggling to really predict, though, because they're in such a difficult division. And that's when we get to probably later in the preseason picks, when we actually reveal our final predictions of everything, you're going to see that I really think this division is a 3-team race for the winner. And what's funny though is this division is so competitive. I know that most of the records have been double digits so far for the teams that I think that are competing for this division. I could see a world where chaos just breaks out and all the teams are below 10 wins and they're competing for one playoff spot. I could also see where this division could have three people competing for a playoff spot. That's
Maybe
how
four.
chaotic I think.
Maybe
No,
four.
no. Again, Kirk Cousins line. They're not ready to take that big leap yet.
What if
But
Mendoza
no,
is just really good?
What if Mendoza is above the Mendoza line? Did we think about that?
if that's the case, then the Raiders are winning the Super Bowl this year. But
No doubt.
What if, man? Worst to first.
if that happens, Oakland burns down. Yes, and I intentionally said Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is going to be a really good team. I think that they not cheated. I don't think cheated's the right word. I feel like they kind of felt like it didn't go their way, obviously, postseason last year. They wish that they would have been able to have Bo Nix in that game. And who knows? Maybe we're talking about reigning Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos, depending on the situation. It would
Please
have
stop
had to
talking.
taken a lot.
Please stop talking. Do not put that in the universe. They still would have lost to Seattle. Well, I can't live in a world where Denver wins the Super Bowl and Kansas City wins 6 games. I can't. No. No.
I don't know, man.
No.
Dawson, there's one guy in particular that I'm thinking of that
No.
would be
No.
that would be
I know who you're talking about.
lack of better terms, dancing on your grave.
He would. And you know what? We don't need to bring that up anymore.
No, I think that this wasn't a fluke year. Could I see them repeating and having 14 wins? I think that's a little bit of a stretch because I think that's an unbelievable run. I think they were ahead of schedule where I think they actually could be as a team, if that makes sense. Like I think that this would have been the year that I would have been like, okay, now they're going to be competing for the top of the West, maybe even competing for a top 2 seed in the playoffs. They did that last year. So obviously people can make the argument that it is a fluke if they finish below the first or second seed of the playoffs. But that's also just people being, I don't know, taking one year too seriously when 14-3 is a really good run. Not many teams do that.
I guess maybe a better question I should have asked you guys is, has Denver put themselves into like the true AFC contenders? I think that would have been a better question. Like when I mean true AFC contenders, I'm talking Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Baltimore. Like those are the 4 that just come to my mind instantly. Teams that have at least made a run. Like Denver's made a conference title game at this point. So like would you include them in that tier? Maybe. They've made the same amount of conference title games as Baltimore's made in the last 5 to 6 years. So
I feel like there's a tier of like the one that you just mentioned, the Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities, like they're contenders every year, they're in the fight. And then there's this sub, like not necessarily 1B, maybe it is just 1-2, but like there's a sub area with teams like Houston, Jacksonville, the Chargers, Denver. I think Denver would be in this group where it's like they can be a part of that 1A area where they are legit AFC contenders. We just haven't seen them really take that next step. And I know Denver 14-3. That's a really good year last year. But like you need to do that again. Like compete for the top 2 spots in the playoffs. If you're the last seed in the wild card, I'm not saying that's a disappointment, but that puts you in that Houston, Jacksonville, Chargers territory of like where you're at in the AFC. But that's my 2 cents on that.
Braden, what are your thoughts on that being the potential question for Denver? Like, are they in that top tier of the AFC, of the upper echelon of teams?
As far as like aura goes, maybe not. As far as like if I had to put money on teams to make a run at the Super Bowl, I would probably put money on the Broncos to make that push over like the Bengals, over hell, maybe even like the Ravens this season. Like I do believe the Broncos have a real shot. Last year looked like it was the shot, and then Bo Nix freak accident like broke his ankle or whatever that was. If that doesn't happen, they're in the Super Bowl, and I know you don't want to hear this. There's a real shot that they win it. That Seattle team was really good, so I would probably put it more like 75-25 Seattle's favor, but like pregame, I would have probably still put that at like 85-15 Seattle over the Patriots. So it's still probably Seattle victory, but
You just gotta believe,
would
man.
I think the Broncos were the best team in the AFC last year, and the record showed that. And I think they could put up a fight to do the same thing this year.
Which one would hurt you more, Dawson? The Chargers or the Broncos winning the Super Bowl?
The Broncos.
Okay. I thought so, because the Chargers haven't done it before.
I've had a hatred for the Broncos since I was a wee little lad. I can remember vividly the 2013 Broncos absolutely curb stomping the Chiefs, and the Chiefs were 8-0. I can remember another time when the Chiefs were driving to like force overtime, and Jamal Charles fumbles the ball, TJ Ward scoops it up for a touchdown, and they win the game. Like, there's too many of those.
I didn't mean to bring it up.
Whereas the Chargers are just like the annoying like little cousin that are just kind of like there. They might do something every once in a while. They might punch you in the face. It might hurt a little bit, but it's like, you could take him. Like if worse come to worse.
I'm well aware of that type of cousin.
Yeah. But whereas like the Denver's like, you're right. Like, I don't know how to put Denver other than just like they're annoying. Like, they've been annoying my entire, maybe not so like adulthood, but when I was a kid, if you had to pick a team out of the AFC West that like I hated the most, it was Denver. Especially when, I'm trying to think how old I was. 12-year-old me was really pushing for Cam Newton to win that Super Bowl, and I had to watch Peyton Manning and Von Miller on that stage instead. So, but yeah, there's your answer for that one.
I didn't mean to bring up trauma, but
no, it's okay. It's okay. Sports fans, they have trauma with certain teams. Denver just happens to be one of those teams for me. So, thank you for that one, Brock. Thank you for the flashbacks I'm going to have tonight when I go to bed.
I got you.
There we go. Anything else to add on Denver before we wrap up this episode?
I think I said my piece.
Okay. Brock?
What a division. Not necessarily Denver, but what a division in terms of quarterback-coach combos. You got 3 teams with really good coaches and really good quarterbacks. And or 2 with borderline Hall of Fame both sides.
2 of them with cheaters as their head coaches. So yeah, that's also cool.
Yeah.
That's I think this time next year we could be saying 4.
True.
4
Kirk Cousins.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
If Kirk Cousins leads them to a playoff spot, does he make the Hall of Fame?
What if Kirk Cousins is just really good?
What if he's above the Kirk Cousins?
What if he was just trolling in Atlanta? He was just like, I was just kidding. I'm actually like goated with the sauce. Watch this.
This isn't the same situation, but like when Minnesota had Darnold for that 1 year, and Darnold was unbelievable, and they're just like, no, we don't want you anymore. And then he pops off in Seattle because like we spent this high draft pick on McCarthy. We got to see this out. What if Cousins just is like a top 5 quarterback, and the Raiders are like, sorry, Fernando, you are not playing at all. You're gonna sit behind Kirk for 3 years before he stops.
The thing is, Kirk Cousins is also like 36.
I know. Like, it's already a crazy hypothetical to be saying out loud, but it's just it's funny. It's funny at this point.
I just need to know whether or not he's found a good Kohl's in Las Vegas yet, or Target, or wherever he shops for all of his gear.
I think it's Kohl's. I think it's
okay.
I think there is a quote saying that he like was looking forward to using his Kohl's cash or something like that.
He's the guy
Which
who's like,
respect?
"Oh, it's my birthday. Cole's cash."
Oh man, that's awesome. Um, anything else to add on this episode as a whole? Anything you guys are looking forward to? I said this is the last AFC one that we're doing, so the
Did we
next one,
do floor
I don't think
ceiling
we
for
did floor
Denver?
ceiling expectations for the Broncos.
Sorry.
floor ceiling expectations for the Broncos going forward. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna cut out what we just did and then put this in. But full episode viewers can see the goof up that I just did. But floor ceiling realistic expectations for the Denver Broncos.
This is why you watch the full. This is why you slug through an hour 35 of just nonsense. Is so that way you can watch Dawson make a logistical error live.
It was bound to happen at some point. It took me 16 teams to figure out before I forgot one. So
It took Dawson being like, for the love of God, get me off this Broncos graphic.
yeah,
And now I'm going to make him sit here for an
PTSD.
extra 30 seconds. All right. Floor ceiling. I'm going to put the floor at 10 and 7. I still really believe in this roster. I think at worst, this is a playoff team. Ceiling, 14 and 3 is kind of just an insane record to repeat on, especially looking at the schedule. I mean, at Kansas City to start, you never know what's going to happen there. The Rams feels like almost just a scheduled loss for every team that I've had so far. San Fran, Seattle, also not easy games. Buffalo, New England up here as well. But I'm still going to put ceiling at 13 and 4. Again, this is just a team that I have a lot of faith in. Maybe more than I should, but I'm just a fan. Realistic expectations, yeah, probably at the higher end of that. I'll put it at 12.
Rock.
So I'm kind of using this as a way to show you how competitive I think this division could be. Um, could see anywhere between 9 wins to 13 wins. I think I'm gonna put them. Is it really possible? Again, this is me just like spitballing. I haven't made my official predictions. Is it possible to have 3 teams with 10 wins in the same division?
Yeah,
Because I see 10 and 7.
NFC West just did that last year.
yeah. You can have theoretically
I
you could have
refuse to
all
watch that
four
division.
teams make the playoffs from one division. You theoretically could with a new expanded format.
Yeah.
So
I think I look at their schedule and I think 10 wins is probably where I got them because I can see areas where they can slip up. But yeah, if they don't slip up though, here's the thing. I could see them easily getting 12, 13 wins.
yeah, I don't. I'm kind of in the same boat. 13 seems high. Um, Denver's got their like strength of schedules like in the middle. They're like 18th easiest. So what is that? 14th most difficult schedule in the league. It's not like a super stressful schedule when you look at it. I mean, there are some pockets where it's just like, whoa, that is a brutal stretch of games. But then you have like several weeks in a row of like, okay, this should be 3 wins, 4 wins. The one thing that kind of goes against Denver, it's the Kansas City syndrome from last year. They were 11-2 in one-score games. So, like we said before, regression to the mean. It happens with literally anything in life. You're going to be really good one year, you're going to be really bad one year. It applies to almost any principle that you will use in life, and I'm applying that here with but I'm using this here with Denver for this example. I'm going to set a floor at 9 and 8. I'm going to set a ceiling at 12 and 5. I just kind of think they're going to go 11 and 6, which means I think I have all the Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos finishing 11 and 6. So at that point, it would just go to tiebreakers for who wins that division, which could be fun. But
Sign me up.
yeah, it kind of just feels like there's a logjam that for the who's going to win the AFC West this year. That's kind of feels like where we're going. But on that note, I don't want to talk about that team anymore. We're done. We're done. I already tried to end this episode because I didn't want to talk about Denver anymore. Now we're ending this episode. Real quick, anything you guys want to add, plug, do anything before we sign off? Make sure I didn't forget anything.
An hour and 40 minutes. Not exactly surprised that this is the longest one of these is going to be. NFC West might be a 3-hour episode.
I think that
Yeah.
one might be a while.
Yeah.
So
Not for
get
the
your popcorn
Seahawks
ready
or
for
the
that one.
Rams either. The other teams.
No, the
No, I
Rams
think-
might be like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
honestly,
there's a certain someone that was working out for them today.
yeah, depending on when that Rams episode gets released, we might
I think
have
we should
to
save it
make
for
some
last.
adjustments.
I think
So,
we intentionally need to save that episode for last.
Yeah.
I think we need to. We saved the AFC West for last. NFC West is going last.
yeah. But if you guys don't have anything else to add, we're going to wrap this one up tonight. Thank you again for tuning into the Between the Hashes podcast. Be sure to look at all the socials. The Instagram's under my name. Braden has the Twitter under his. Brock has the Facebook under his because he is the unk of the group. But for Braden Bankin, Brock Bierman, Dawson Livingston, we are signing off today for the Between the Hashes podcast.
Way to go. You made him mad.